O Muballigh, for you it's my prayer. O Muballigh, for you it's my prayer. May you keep ascending success stair. O Muballigh, for you it's my prayer. May you keep ascending success stair.
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله. نويت سنة الاعتكاف. Respected brothers, whenever you have the opportunity of entering the house of Allah Azza wa Jal, try and enter in the sunnat way with the right foot, and as well as reciting the dua for entering the masjid. If you recite the dua for nafli i'tikaf, the beauty of this will be that for the entire time that you remain in the house of Allah Azza wa Jal, angels will continue to write good deeds in your book of deeds. There are many blessings of reciting Durood Pak upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aka sallallahu alaihi wasallam का फरमाने वाली शान है कि जो मुझ पर दुरूद पाक पढ़ना भूल गया वो जन्नत का रास्ता भूल गया. Okay, the one who forgets to recite durood upon me forgets the way to Jannah. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The organs of the body are very, very important when it comes to earning reward or committing sins. Gradually, we have realized, for example, that this piece of flesh caged between our teeth, we need to control this. We can't simply say whatever we want because there will be consequences for it. And we know that if we lie, backbite, and we swear, we will be held accountable for it. We also know that if we do good things with this tongue, we keep it moist in the zikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, we use it to recite Durood Pak upon Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then we will be rewarded for this. There is no doubt about it. But there's one organ of the body, ek us jism ka aisa hai, कि we've not quite developed the mindset of how powerful this organ of the body is. हमारे ज़हन में ये बात अभी तक नहीं बैठी कि ये अल्लाह ताला की ऐसी एक नेमत है जिससे इंसान जन्नती भी बन सकता है और जहन्नम की आग में भी गिर सकता है. It's a very, very important organ. Our lives depend on it from the moment we wake up to when we go to sleep. It's so amazing, प्यारे इस्लामी भाइयों, that the best computer in the world can't match it. The best camera in the world can't match it. Scientists are baffled by how amazing it is. This gift of the eye that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us, it is truly amazing. Within a split second, I can assess something in the distance. I can tell you what color it is, what texture it is, and what it's made of, all in the blinking of an eye. This is how amazing this organ is. But in exactly the same way that we had to control this piece of flesh between our teeth, the eye was something that we had to control. We had to learn to control and use it for good things. And we had to control and ensure that we did not look or do anything with this eye that Allah and His beloved Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam had forbidden. But today, we don't even think about what we look at. Let me start with the ayah mubarakah of the Quran Kareem. Tarjuma Kanzul Iman. Command the Muslim men to keep their gaze low. And today, despite the clear order of the Quran, despite hadith mubarakah after hadith mubarakah on the power of this eye, we are ignorant to it. As soon as we have an opportunity to look at something, the shaitan whispers in our ears and we can't stop ourselves. हमसे रहा नहीं जाता. And then we make fun and mockery. आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का फरमाने आली शान है कि बिला कसद, if accidentally you look at a non-mahram and then somebody immediately looks away through the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, hadith mubarakah ka mafhum hai, Allah Azza wa Jal will strengthen his iman and give him pleasure in worship and comfort in prostration. आज कितने बंदे हैं, कितने इस्लामी भाई हैं जो ये कंप्लेन करते हैं कि नमाज तो हम पढ़ते हैं लेकिन नमाज में मजा नहीं आता, नमाज में गलत ख्याल आते हैं. I get all sorts of thoughts when I'm reading namaz. और कुछ तो ये भी कहते हैं कि I don't read namaz na'uzubillah min zalik because I get bad thoughts during it. लेकिन let's pause there and think about it for a moment. If you spent your day protecting your eyes, so you got up for your Fajr Salah, you went to the masjid and you prayed it. You came back and you read the Quran. You did the Didar of the Kaaba. You looked at the Mita Medina, Gumbad Khazra. You looked at the beautiful your face of your parents. Walidain ke chehre ka Didar kiya. Aka sallallahu alaihi wasallam ki hadith mubarakah hai कि you get the sawab of a Kabul Hajj for doing that. You did that. You set out for work. You're fearing Allah Azza wa Jal. You sit down at your desk or your workstation and you read Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You keep your eyes protected. You keep the tasawwur of Gumbad Khazra in your eyes. Then you stand up for Zohar Salah. तो फिर प्यारे इस्लामी मक्के और मदीने के ख्याल ही आएंगे ना. लेकिन what do? We get up in the morning. नमाजों का पता ही नहीं है. Straight away we flick on the television. Let's catch up on the news. औरतों से न्यूज सुन के नाश्ता हाफ ईटन, दुआ भी नहीं, सुन्नत तरीका भी नहीं, वालदैन से बात नहीं, straight out to the door. बदनिगाही रास्ते में जाते हुए, you see women, you can't keep your eyes away. You get to your desk, then at 1 o'clock you stand in salah. And if then you complain, प्यारे इस्लामी भाइयों, कि नमाज में गलत ख्याल आते हैं, then you are a fool. ख्याल तो वही आने थे जो आपने किया है. If you expect Makkah and Medina to be in your tasawwur, in your namaz, but you spend your days without protecting your eyes, then it's fooling oneself. What we have to do is protect our eyes, because the important thing is this: our mind, our intellect evolves around what we feed it. Nobody walks off towards zina just out of the blue. What happens is there's a gradual process. Ulama काम फरमाते हैं process से गुजरना पड़ता है. Now the first stage of that process is the eyes. इंसान बुरी चीज देखेगा, उसके दिल में ख्याल पैदा होंगे, एक lust, एक शहवत पैदा होगी. The desires will grow in his heart. The more he looks at the wrong thing, the stronger the desires become. To the extent that ulama ikram फरमाते हैं, then he builds up the courage to act upon what the shaitan is saying. Or फिर he will text that person. He will write the Facebook messages. He will write the Twitter messages. He will make the phone calls. He will then start to think, I've got to meet this person. He starts to go on dates. और बदी का सिलसिला निकल पड़ता है. लेकिन where did it start from? It started from that badnigahi that happened first. The badnigahi, the looking at the wrong thing, produced the desires in the heart. And the desire became so strong that you couldn't control it. So the first process in cleaning yourself is to protect these eyes. If you are drawn to the streets, if you're drawn to the marketplace, क्योंकि एक तबका ऐसा है जो बदनिगाही, live by badnigahi. If they don't look at the wrong thing, उनको चैन नहीं मिलता. Why? Because एक आदत बन गई है. So they'll go into the marketplaces looking for this thing. अगर वहां से उनकी आग पूरी ना हो, then they'll go onto the TV and they'll see, or they'll go onto the internet and they'll fulfill their lust and their desires through this means. Hazrat Imam Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi farmate hain, it is a grave sin as sometimes just one look can destroy and kill a person's heart. हम कहते हैं ना एक नजर देख लिया है, और बाज तो इतने बेबाक होते हैं कि वो कहते हैं वो पहली नजर तो माफ है. अस्तगफिरुल्लाह अल-अज़ीम, क्योंकि हदीस मुबारका का नाउज़ु बिल्लाह मिन ज़ालिक मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं. हदीस मुबारका में लिखा था कसदन, accidentally, if your eye lands on a non-mahram and you look away for the sake of Allah, that first sight is forgiven. Not that you keep your eyes fixed there and you start to look at these women. And then, strong words I know, लेकिन दावत इस्लामी का काम ही यही कि हमारे अंदर का चोट पकड़ती है. आप ये बताएं, when you look at a woman, a non-mahram, what are you looking at? And then think about this. अगर आपकी माँ या बहन जा रही है और आपकी कोई आपको पता चले कि आपकी माँ बहन को उसी नजर से देख रहा है, तो आप पे क्या गुजरेगी? Your ghairat, your jazba will come out. You will have anger. But why, if you were doing exactly the same thing? ये सोच तो उस वक्त आनी चाहिए थी प्यारे इस्लामी भाइयों, when we were looking at the wrong thing. What if somebody looks at my mother like this, or my daughter like this? Would I like it? वो भी तो किसी की बेटी है, वो भी तो किसी की बहन है. मुसलमान का तो ये काम था कि जो अपने लिए पसंद करे वो अपने मोमिन भाई के लिए पसंद करे. You don't like anybody looking at your mother, your sister, your daughter. So why are we going into the marketplaces and committing this very sin? It's time to think. We claim that we are pious, yet our eyes wander so blindly that पता ही नहीं चलता कि कितनी एक चक्कर बाजार का लगाए और पता नहीं कितने गुनाहों के बोरियां भर के ले आए सिर्फ इस बदनिगाही की वजह से. The Sahaba Ikram, amazing people. The Muslims conquer Baytul Maqdis. Hazrat Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah radhiyallahu anhu is the leader of the Muslim army. The Christians who were there at the time, they devise a plot. And they say that these Muslims are too strong. We cannot defeat them. We need to think of something else to try and weaken their iman, because their faith is so strong, we can't match them. So they devise a very deceptive and cunning plan. In the entrance to Baytul Muqaddas, Jerusalem, they set up a bazaar, a marketplace of all sorts of things. And then they take all their loose women, they half dress them, and they put them in that marketplace. And they wait for the Muslim army. So that when the Muslim army walks through and they see these half-naked women, they will start to look at them and their iman will go. They knew that protection of the eyes was the strength of the moment. Hazrat Abu Ubaid bin Jarrah radhiyallahu anhu walks into it and he immediately realizes what the plan is. He marches onto a tall stone and he stands there. He stands up and he reads the ayah of the Quran. قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُدُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Immediately the Muslim army lowers their gaze at the command of Allah. They walk through that bazaar to such an extent that the historians say they did not even realize what was in that bazaar. They walked straight through. This was the great Sahabas and Tabi'eens at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Lekin tell me this, today हम कहते हैं कि वो ज़माने आज ज़माना advance हो गया. It's very difficult these days protecting your eyes. No, Pyare Islami, this tells us that this fitna was there at that time as well. They had a tough time, but they marched all over the world. One Sahabi radhiyallahu anhu went to one country. Are you telling me that उस country में बदनिगाही के मंज़ाज़र नहीं थे? Are you telling me that everything was decent in that country? To the contrary, the books of history tell us that they used to dance around the Holy Kaaba naked. This was the people that these great people had to deal with. And yet, ek sahabi stuck to the sunnahs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They marched into a country. The country couldn't change them. They changed the entire country and made them the ghulams of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what you get for amal upon the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Amir al-Sunnat Damat Barakatum al-Aliyah पर्दे के बारे में सवाल जवाब में लिखते हैं कि आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की आदत मुबारका थी कि आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ज्यादातर नजरे मुबारक नीची रखते थे. आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की आदत मुबारक थी कि he would listen attentively but look from the corner of his eye. This is the best of creation, teaching us how to control our eyes. And yet today we don't even realize that that is a concept. Pyare Islamic, today if we have problems, the first thing we do is we think, हमसे तो गलती हो ही नहीं सकती, पता नहीं ये मुसीबत कहां से आ गई. लेकिन अमीर अल-सुन्नत दामत बरकातुहुम अल-आलिया कहते हैं, stop there for a minute. Ask yourself, कौन सी गलती मैंने की है कि ये मुसीबत आई है? That's the question you should be asking yourself. Don't think मैं तो बड़ा नेक परहेजगार हूं, मुझ पे तो मुसीबत कहां से आई है? सोचें. And one of the biggest reasons that we have calamities these days is because हम आंखों की हिफाजत नहीं कर सकते. Today, the enemies of Islam, as they did 1400 years ago, they know that the strength of your iman lies in protecting these eyes. एक इस्लामी भाई का बयान है, फरमाते हैं कि a friend rang me. He said, I've done something good for you. Do you know those chip boxes? Somebody was selling one, they were costing £120. I managed to get two for 160, £80 each. So I bought you one and I bought myself one. And I got a great deal. Islami bhai ko thodi samajh thi. Usne kaha ki, listen, your children are 12, 13, that sort of age. My children are young yet. But with respect, brother, you're a fool. You're going to take these unlimited TV channels on the excuse that I'm going to watch cricket. And when you go out to work, you're going to leave this fire in the hands of your children. Your daughters are going to watch things on the television that you don't know about. And then tomorrow you're going to complain why my daughter has run away from home. You are bringing fire into your house. Good luck. Put the phone down. 2 days later, the brother rings back. He says, Jazakallah khair for saving me, saving my house and my children from this. I went back to the man and I said, I don't want these boxes. He said, you can't have your money back. I said, you keep the money and you keep the boxes. Today, if somebody offers us a chip box, we think it's the best thing that ever happened to us. उस डब्बे को घर में रख के हम तो काम पे जा रहे हैं, लेकिन कभी सोचा है कि पीछे बच्चे क्या देख रहे हैं? और फिर हम सोचते हैं, we're doing the 16 hours a day. Why are our children going on the wrong path? And then you ask the brother, घर में Madani Channel? No, you go into the house and they've got all these other channels. कभी खुद इज्तिमा में attendance की है? No. घर वालों को तरबियत दी है? No. And then they ask, मेरी बच्ची, she was fine till she was 16, 17. I don't know what's happened to her. She's run away from home. And now she's making allegations against me. And the police have come and arrested me and taken me to the police station to answer questions. What have I done wrong when I've worked so hard? Well, what you've done wrong is this. You put that box in your house and you give your children fire to play with. You gave them phones and unlimited internet in their bedroom to play with. You did not take them to the mahfils where they could learn the sunnahs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You did not take them to the mahfils where they could learn the seerat of Hazrat Mai Fatima raziyallahu ta'ala anha. They did not take them to the mahfils where they could learn the teachings of the Quran. You left them in that house and you left them alone and they looked at filth, and that's what they are acting upon. And unfortunately, बात बुरी लगेगी, लेकिन you are the author of your own misfortune. But it's too late. आज वक्त है प्यारे इस्लाम भाई to change. आज वक्त है, you've got to sow what you want to reap. हम अगर चाहते हैं कि हमारे बच्चे इस मुआशरे से बच सके, तो हम जो बदनिगाही के सामान घर में मुहैया करते हैं उनसे हमें बचना है और अपने बच्चों को बचाना है। आप अगर खुद कहें कि मैं आके टीवी के जो मर्जी चैनल देखूं लेकिन मेरे बच्चे ना देखें, इट्स नॉट गोना वर्क। अगर आप ये सोचें कि मैं खुद तो नमाज ना पढ़ूं लेकिन मेरे बच्चे नमाज पढ़ें, then you're fooling yourself. अगर आप खुद तो कहें कि मैं दावत इस्लामी के इज्तिमात में ना जाऊं लेकिन मेरे बच्चे जाएं, you are fooling yourself. अगर आप खुद समझें कि मैं सुन्नत पर अमल के जज्बा ना रखूं लेकिन मेरी बेटी बापर्दा हो, then you are fooling yourself. You've got to change. और आप अगर बदलेंगे तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता पूरा घर बदल जाएगा। आप एक चीज से शुरू कर दें। अमीर अहले-सुन्नत दामत बरकातुहुम अलैह की ये बड़ी प्यारी किताब पर्दे के बारे में सवाल जवाब, इसका दर्स घर में शुरू कर दे, 5-7 मिनट का दर्स रोजाना। Within a month you will realize that this will bring a Madani inqilab into your house. It will change your house. एक इस्लामी भाई का बयान है कि तलाक तक नौबत पहुंची थी। He rang a brother and he said कि I can't live with this woman despite my children, I have to go. इस्लामी भाई ने कहा कि आपके करीब कोई इस्लामी बहनों का इज्तिमा होता है, कोई उसकी कोशिश करें। कहता मैं देखूंगा। Few weeks later he rings back. He says still the same situation. उसने कहा कि did you take the mother of your children to the ijtima of Dawat Islami sisters? No, I didn't. He says, well, if you're not going to take the medicine, how do you expect the cure? He said, inshallah I will do it. 6 months later प्यारे इस्लामी, उसी इस्लामी भाई का बयान है कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं भी इज्तिमा में पाबंदी के साथ जाता हूँ, मेरे घर वाले भी जाते हैं और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह घर में सुकून हो गया। But we have to act. It's not going to come to us. हमने मेहनत करनी है. We have to do something. We can't let the shaitan take over our children. अगर हम आंखों की हिफाजत नहीं कर सकते, तो how do we expect our children to protect themselves when they're out on these streets? ये बदनिगाही शैतान के ज़हर अली तीरों में से एक तीर है. It's an arrow from the poisoned arrows of the shaitan. It will kill your heart. और फिर आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का फरमाने आली शान है, हदीस कुदसी है, whoever through my fear, Allah Azza wa Jal says, whoever through my fear refrains from looking at evil and wrong, I will give him such a special iman, the passion of which he will feel in his heart. आज इस्लामी भाई कहते हैं ना, नमाजें पढ़ता हूं, कोशिश करता हूं, लेकिन वो रूहानियत हासिल नहीं हो रही. One of the biggest factors is कि हमारी बदनिगाही ने हमारी रूहानियत का सत्यानाश कर दिया. It is completely destroyed our रूहानियत. क्योंकि नमाज तो पढ़ लेते हैं, लेकिन as soon as we go out onto the street, बदनिगाही की वजह से वो जो जज्बा और वो सुकून मिला था वो कंप्लीटली डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाता है. फिर इस्लामी एक ज़माना था कि इस्लामी बहनें used to have a burqa. And that burqa was not a fashionable one. The older Islamic brothers will know. टेंट नुमा बुरका होता था. आपको इतना भी पता नहीं चलता था कि इसमें बूढ़ी माई जा रही है, जवान औरत जा रही है. What happened slowly? In the name of modernism, तरक्की, बुरके टाइट हो गए, चादरें चली गई. फिर एक जमाना आया, you'll all remember this, कि सिर्फ कपड़े रह गए, बुरके गए, and then there was the चादर over the top. फिर एक जमाना आया, चादरें भी चली गई. And the society we're living in today, सिर्फ कपड़े रह गए थे, आजकल कपड़े भी चले गए, आस्तीनें चली गई हैं, और पता नहीं क्या क्या फैशन के नाम पर. अब माजरत के साथ एक बात, सालन में नमक ज्यादा हो जाए तो हमारा गुस्सा और गजब knows no bounds. प्लेट उठा के दीवार पे फेंक दी, क्यों ज्यादा हुआ है? और जवान बच्ची आधे कपड़े पहनकर बाहर जा रही है और आपकी जुर्रत नहीं बन रही कि आप उसको रोकें. हमारी गैरत कहां गई? If the first time when she was growing up, when she was 10, 11 and 12, we had taught her कि बेटा we are Muslims, This is not the way that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us. And we gradually instilled it into her. We took her to the ijtimas of Dawat Islami. She mixed with sisters from this country who are well educated, speak good English. She realized there's another way when she got to 16. यकीन करें ऐसी बच्चियां जो कहती हैं कि अब्बा जी मैं फुल निकाब करना चाहती हूँ, और वालिदैन जो कुर्बान जाते हैं कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बेटी खुद आके कह रही है. लेकिन that didn't happen just by itself. उन वालिदैन ने मेहनत की है ना. That's where it came from. Hazrat Ala bin Ziyad, Allahu Akbar, rahmatullahi alayhi, says this: when we go out in the streets, what we see, just imagine that and then think. Hazrat Ala bin Ziyad rahmatullahi alayhi says, if a woman is wearing a burqa and has a chadar over it, don't even look at the chadar, because looking at the chadar can kill your iman and kill your heart. एक इस्लामी बहन जा रही है बुरके में, उसके ऊपर चादर है, उस चादर की तरफ बदनिगाही से देखने से दिल मुर्दा हो सकता है. What will happen to the heart with the things that we look at? The heart becomes blind. Pyare Islam bhaiyo, today we are going down a path where agar ye aankh hai na, इसमें just a speck of dust goes into the eye. कितना दर्द होता है. How difficult is it? We're rubbing it for 20 minutes. Islami basically कहते हैं, please just help me, there's something in my eye. The one who commits the zina of the eyes and looks at that which Allah and His Habib has forbidden, then on the day of judgment, लोहे की आग की सलाखें उसकी आंखों में फेर दी जाएंगी, and his eyes will be filled with the fire of hell. How are we going to cope with that? How are we going to cope? And then Hadith Mubarakah narrated by Hazrat Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu, that on the day of judgment every eye will be crying. Har aankh ro rahi hogi through shame and embarrassment. But that eye that protected itself for the sake and fear of Allah Azza wa Jal from non-mahrams, that eye will be blessed with seeing the jalwa of His Lord Allah Azza wa Jal. वो आँख जो बंदा जिसने अपनी आँख की हिफाजत की है, दुनिया में अपनी आँख की हिफाजत की है रब की रजा के लिए, क़यामत के दिन जब सभी नफ्सा नफ्सी का आलम होगा, अपने पसीने में डूबे होंगे और परेशान हाल होंगे, and will be crying through shame and embarrassment, that eye will be taking the pleasure of the vision of its Lord, Allah Azza wa Jal. Think about it this way. Very simple maths, very simple analysis. You go home, the television is on, or you walk down the street, or wherever you are, whether on your phone, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter. The opportunity comes to look at the wrong thing. एक मौका है गलत चीज को देखने का, बदनिगाही करने का. You can't resist the opportunity. आप देख लेते हैं. The angel immediately writes down, on the 13th of November 2014, at this time, at this place, this person looked at the wrong thing. How much pleasure did we get out of looking at that wrong thing? 10 seconds, 5 seconds, walking down the street, 3 seconds? For the rest of eternity, that entry in your book of deeds will remain. और क़यामत के दिन वो नामा अमाल आपके हाथ में दिया जाएगा कि इसे पढ़ के सुनाओ. And it will remain there forever. The pleasure only lasted 3 seconds or 10 seconds. Or the movie that you watched lasted 2 hours at maximum. But for the rest of eternity till the day of Qiyamah, that has remained in your book of deeds. Let's take the same opportunity You saw the opportunity to look at something, but for the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal, for the pleasure and raza of His beloved Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you lowered your gaze in accordance with the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You thought, my deeds are presented in the court of the best of creation. मेरे अमाल आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की बारगाह में पेश होने हैं. अब मेरे बदनिगाही को देखकर मेरे आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम पर क्या गुजरेगी, इस सोच से नजरें झुका ली. The angel writes it down. 13th of November, this time and this place, he had the opportunity, but for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, he protected his eyes. That entry will remain there till the day of judgment. प्यारे इस्लामी भाइयों, वो आपके नामा अमाल में लिखा रहेगा, और हो सकता है कि वो एक एंट्री आपकी बख्शिश का सबब बन जाए. That one entry might lead you into the Jannat, or that one entry may lead you to the fire of hell. Listening to a Bayan, listening to the Hadith Mubarakah, having that jazba now to protect our eyes is good, but how long will it last when we go back to our normal lives? The only way is to learn this skill, to learn this art of protecting your eyes. और हम घर बैठे सीख नहीं सकते. We can't sit at home and do it. एक ही तरीका है कि हम दावत इस्लामी के मदनी काफलों के मुसाफिर बने. Once you're in the Madani Kafla and you're in the environment of the masjid, you will see that Islamic brothers, when they're talking to each other, they don't look at one another, they look down. And people ask, we're in the masjid, you're talking to an Islamic brother, why are you looking down? That is the training. If you can control your eyes in that environment, when you get out on the street, if you've made it a habit to look down, when you're out on the street, anything can walk down the other side, your eyes are fixed to the pavement. It's training. It's not going to happen overnight. Ijtamaat mein aate rahenge. And then, every night, if you ask yourself the question, you have to ask yourself, what have I done during the day? And if you take this, just imagine if every night somebody stopped you and said, what have you done with your eyes today? Have you protected your eyes today? What have you looked at? Every night, if somebody was to ask you that question, you used to relay in your mind all the bad things you looked at and did tawbah. And every night, you made an irada, a firm commitment to protect your eyes. After a week, the training would have shown some fruit. After a month, you'll become stronger. After a few months, alhamdulillah, you will have learnt this art. It's only going to come if we take this beautiful gift by Amir al-Sunnah Damat Barakatum al-Aliyah, this Madani Namat card. It is so beautiful that yaqeen kare Islami bhai ka bayan hai, I was a be-namazi, somebody gave me this. और इसको देखने और regularly देखने से मैं 5 वक्त का नमाजी बन गया. अब there are a lot of people with this habit of looking at the wrong things and they can't break out of it. But the way to break free of it is to look at this every night. The way to break free of it is to make sure that you travel in the Madani Kaflas every month. The way to break free of it is to make sure that you attend the weekly ijtimas. The way to break clear of it is this. We have a habit of sitting in front of the television for 2 hours, 3 hours. It's difficult to break. आपको एक प्यारा नुस्खा देता हूँ. जब दिल करें टीवी के आगे बैठने का, मदनी चैनल के आगे बैठ जाए. यकीन करें इस्लामी भाइयों का बयान है कि I come home from work, I want to go to bed early, I put on Madani Channel, and 3 hours later I'm still sat there learning something. You will fulfill that habit of sitting in front of the television, but while you are doing that, the angels will be writing good deeds in your book of deeds. That is the way. And when our children, environment, एक माहौल बन जाता है घरों में कि मदनी चैनल पे चलती है पट्टी और वो कहते हैं कि सल्लु अला हबीब, तो छोटे छोटे मदनी मुन्ने सल्लल्लाहु ताला अला मोहम्मद गुनगुना रहे होते हैं. एक माहौल होता है कि जब वो पट्टी चलती है तो छोटे छोटे मदनी मुन्ने मुझे अपनी और सारी दुनिया के लोगों की इस्लाह की कोशिश करनी है इंशाअल्लाह अज़्ज़ व जल. और यकीन करें कि घर का समय बदल जाता है. तो इंशाअल्लाह अज़्ज़ व जल अल्लाह ताला की रज़ा के लिए हमने आंखों की हिफाजत करनी है. And we've got to learn this art by keeping close to the beautiful environment, the Madani environment of Dawat Islami. अल्लाह ताला हम सबको आंखों की हिफाजत करने की तौफीक अता फरमाए. आमीन बिजाहि नबील अमीन सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम. सल्लु अलल हबीब सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि मुहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम.
O Mubarak, for you is my prayer. O Mubarak, for you is my prayer. May you keep ascending success stair. O Mubarak, for you is my prayer. May you keep ascending success stair.